Hi there. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Hobbies, Crafts, and Collectibles. I'm your host, Duska Cornwell. Today it's a double treat. We'll be talking to husband and wife team, Rick and Terri Owens from Charleston, Illinois. They both draw their inspiration for their artwork from wildlife. You'll have to stay tuned to see what I'm talking about next. I'd like to welcome Rick and Terri Owens to the set today. They, as you can see, both do beautiful artwork, and both of you are inspired by wildlife. And I'm so excited to be able to interview you together. You both have two different mediums, but two similar mediums. So let me start with you, Terri.
Okay.
What got you started in painting, first of all?
Well, several things. When I was about 6 years old, actually, I won first place for a safety poster I did. I won a blue ribbon and a dollar bill, and I knew from then that I wanted to paint. So then when my husband and I were first married, not having a lot of money, I painted saw blades. That many years ago, that was kind of in style. And after we'd been married probably a year, I think it was, I had a home interior party, earned some free stuff, and so I wanted to get rid of the saw blades, and I put them in a rummage sale. Sold all of them, and people started calling me, wanting me to paint. And so that's really how I got started, was from word of mouth, the way it spread. My mother-in-law and father-in-law, when we first got married, loved the way I painted, and they insisted that I sign everything, so because of them, my name kind of got out there. I think they bought me paints every year for Christmas for years after that too. So
That's wonderful. Now, what kind of paints do you use?
Acrylics mostly.
Okay.
So,
And what was the first thing you started painting on? I see a few different mediums here. What did you start with?
I actually started with the Christmas ornaments, and
Okay.
people have been collecting those for probably 30 years.
I can see why. They're lovely.
Well, thank you.
Now, do you usually paint these all year long to get ready for Christmas?
I
or-
do. I start in February. I usually give myself January as a break, and then I paint year round.
I see. And then you've also got a few other things that you're painting on. Now, what excites me the most is the feathers. I have never seen anyone paint on feathers before. These are just lovely.
Well, thank you.
And several different, I noticed they're all the same theme, wildlife. Do you spend a lot of time outdoors?
We do. We live in the country, and a lot of what I paint is what I see in our backyard. We also take a trip out west every year to purchase antlers, and so while I'm there, I take a lot of photographs of elk and mule deer and moose, and then I bring those pictures back home to use as part of my ideas for painting.
I see. I want to show a few more of these. What's your favorite animal to paint?
Probably deer. I get a lot of requests for deer and turkey.
Wait, am I holding this one right?
This was a turkey.
So this is a turkey. Awesome.
I had a neighbor bring me some turkey feathers and asked me to paint on one for the Wildlife Turkey Federation, and that's what got me started painting the turkey feathers.
Well, it's so detailed. I don't know if the camera's picking up on that very well at all, but wow. And this one over here is stunning. This is a buck. And
We have a lot of hunters out there this week, so
Yeah, that's true. It is the season, isn't it?
sometimes I have people bring me a picture of the deer that they've shot and ask me to paint it on the turkey feather for them. So I've done quite a bit of
So you do some custom
personal,
work?
yes, custom work for them.
Awesome. And then one of the other things that you paint that I think is extraordinary, because I have a hard enough time painting on a flat surface, let alone a round surface. I say painting, but I really don't do much in the way of painting. But these are just beautiful. Now,
Thank you.
with this lantern, would you still be able to light it?
You could. I don't recommend that they do that after I've painted on them because now it's a piece of work just to be displayed.
Okay.
So-
Because I would think it would probably end up drying the paint out maybe somewhat or crackling it. Who needs to paint it when it's this beautiful? And it's 360. It's all the way around. It's just beautiful. Very nice.
So thank you.
Now, did painting run in your family at all? You said your parents bought you a lot of paint.
My in-laws bought me a lot of paint. My
okay.
father could draw and paint, but he didn't do artwork. So no, it's just basically me.
I see. Now, on the flip side here, I'm going to kind of get you both together a little bit, Rick.
Yep.
Were you doing chandeliers early in your marriage when you met Terri, or is this something
No.
more recent?
Well, it's been probably close to 15 years ago.
Okay.
We were in the country, and we decided, we liked the way they looked. And started pricing them and found out they were pretty pricey. And from there, we went started going out to Wyoming and looking for them out there, and found out they were pricey out there, and ended up finding antlers and made one of our own.
So were you kind of filling a need that you wanted one for yourself?
That's
and
what it was. We just,
Yeah.
we did one for ourselves, and her brother seen it. He wanted one, and then a friend of his seen it, and proceeded to expand. Finally had to start building them,
Right, right. So do you have a lot of people bringing you antlers now when they find them?
That's the majority of what we do right now is custom. People bring their antlers, and we put a light together for them.
I see.
Just snowball effect.
Yeah. And that person tells another person who tells
Exactly.
another person. So your hobby's kind of taken off. It's become kind of a way of life for you, hasn't it?
Full time.
Yeah. Now you do, what I'm seeing is lamps and chandeliers. And of course, in the studio, it's kind of hard to bring a chandelier, but we have some pictures. Could you grab that one over there? I want to hold that up for the camera. That one. This is beautiful. Tell me about this chandelier.
That one's actually down in Marshall. There's a hunting lodge down there. They have that light hanging in there. It's approximately 7 foot across and 4 to 5 foot tall.
And that one made me nervous when he hung that one.
How much would it weigh?
I didn't weigh that one, but
Enough, huh?
yeah,
How many antlers would it have taken to make this?
I don't remember exactly how many there are in that one.
Yeah.
Standard chandeliers takes 15 antlers, and that one's probably got 20 or 30 more.
I see. Now, isn't there, as far as the value, if a person were to buy a horn just by itself, the more points it has, probably the more valuable it would be. Do you use the higher count buck horns, or do you stay to the...
It's more the quality is the color of the antler.
Okay.
And then you have the size and how much rodent damage there is to one.
If it's been laying
So,
around in the woods for a while.
Yep.
Gotcha. Now, you said color, so you don't bleach them or anything. That probably
No.
would defeat your
They're-
purpose, huh?
A lot of the mule deer antlers out west there have laid out, and they are naturally bleached out. The
Okay.
majority of the women like the white bleached out antlers, and local people around here, men, love the darker color.
I see. So you said mule deer. Tell me the difference. Like the deer that we have around here.
These are all whitetail here,
These are whitetail. Okay.
and mule deer are a longer, bigger
Okay.
antler.
See, I'm totally ignorant when it comes to deer and what types there are and what types of horns. So do you prefer one or the other?
Have a cathedral ceiling in a house. Usually I try to put mule deer on the bottom just to make it a bigger light. It fills up the space better.
Sure. So it's going to depend on the design, what kind of,
Yes.
of antler you use.
Yeah.
I see. So tell me about these. These are mule.
White deer.
These are white deer and white-tailed deer, and you just pretty much, do you coat them? Do you sand them?
All
Or
natural.
What happens? It's all
All
natural.
natural.
Because it has such a lovely sheen to it.
Right.
That is so neat. And then did you have to learn how to wire your own stuff too, or did you know that before you actually started making
I
them?
knew what to do before,
Yeah.
and then whenever I met a man out there in Wyoming, he gave me some pointers, and I give him pointers now too. So
Awesome. Now, I've heard that from a lot of artists. Sometimes they find somebody to mentor them a little bit, get them started
Yep.
to know. Do you use a certain technique for adhering them together? Do you use an adhesive at all, or do you?
they're pinned together so they
They're
can't come
pinned.
apart.
Okay. Well, what kind of pins? Like, is that a steel pin,
Yes,
or
steel pins. So
is that something
They're-
you shoot in,
yeah.
or is it something you pound in, or is it?
I drill them in,
Okay.
but the people, come look at these and they're afraid to pick them up. I'm like, pick up. You're not going to damage them.
They're
You
pretty
beat them
hard.
together in the woods.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
you can't damage them. And I'm like, pick it up. That's what they're there for you to look at. If
Sure.
we do a show and there'd always be somebody come up there and bend over looking at it. I'm like, go ahead and pick it up. You're breaking your neck here. You're hurting me. Feel free to pick it up.
I
So,
see. I see. So I've seen a lot of deer horns made into like knife handles and things like that. Do you do that as well, or drawer pulls, or
No, I
any of
know
that?
people. I have connections, people that do know that do it. I know. We actually know a young guy coming here, Eastern. that
Oh, okay.
does carving for us also.
Oh, neat.
So,
So on your chandelier pieces, he carves them? Or?
like the pull chains, he'll carve on there for me.
I see.
We actually met him at a show down in Collinsville.
Hmm.
And he's coming here.
And he happens to be here.
Yes.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Very cool. Now tell me about, I know it's kind of hard maybe for the camera to pick up. I'm going to sneak over here and just get this picture. Now, this is not, oops. So this is a moose. Where do you find moose antlers? Surely not around here.
Like I said, we go out to Wyoming every year and buy antlers. And these here, I bought from a guy from Montana. And I'm not sure exactly where all he collects them from, but
This is amazing. I love this
that
piece.
one actually went up to Chicago.
Okay. Do you know how far and wide some of your pieces of work have gone?
Oh gosh.
Just, they're everywhere.
Livermore, Colorado, Nevada,
Aspen, Colorado.
Aspen, Colorado, down south. A lot of Indiana, Missouri, Kentucky.
We're working on a piece for West Virginia right now. So
Wonderful.
we're everywhere. It's unreal.
That's
And we give out shirts with every light we do. So
oh, that's cool.
somebody sees our shirt someplace, they're, you know.
That's really neat. Now, have you guys done any crossover? Do you ever paint on antlers?
I do. I should have brought one. I paint on moose antlers. They have a nice wide surface to paint on, and he'll make a little frame to hold it up, so
An
to
antler
display
stand.
it.
Oh,
Antler to sit in.
that's a great idea. You two are so creative. Now, do you foresee any other projects in the future working together? Maybe bringing some of your things into the mediums into the same.
We everything we do together.
Yeah.
He helps me with my stuff, and I help him with his. And he does the metal work also, and I do a lot of the artwork, draw it
She
all
does all
out,
the
and then he
artwork on
cuts it
that.
out for us. So
I see. Now, metalwork. That's amazing. Now, we weren't able to bring any of those pieces with us today, but we do have some pictures. Would this be? I'm going to hold this up and let the camera get it. But would this be done with a torch, or how do you cut?
It's a plasma cutter.
Oh, okay. And what type of metal do you use?
It's
Is it an
flat,
iron
flat
steel?
steel. It's
Okay.
sheet steel. It's usually 10 gauge.
it's heavy.
It looks to be heavy. I would think you'd have to be so intricate like that. You'd have to have some depth to it. That's beautiful. Which do you prefer doing? Do you rather do as if you were going to do this to relax? Do you do it to relax? Is it still a hobby for you? Is it
Oh,
become
yeah.
work?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
still fun, right?
Oh yeah.
Would you rather do metal work, or would you rather do? Oh, I thought I was getting another metal page. I apologize.
I prefer
This
doing
one,
the
this one.
antlers probably.
Am I getting that right? Okay, I want you to see this piece. I know our audience will enjoy this one. That looks like a huge, is it a gate or what is it? It's so big.
It has a balcony panel
Oh, I
that
see.
overlooks a lower level.
Then the customer that we made that one for, he actually brought in pictures of deer he had shot that were trophy deer. He has a business and customers that come there that book hunts with him. And so he had us put these specific deer on this metal piece, and he had to come back and look at it 2 or 3 times before, to get it just right. And he wanted a John Deere tractor, he wanted a barn, he wanted a guy in the tree hunting. So it had a lot of specific things that we had to put in that one for him.
That must be really rewarding for you to be able to take somebody's vision or dream and bring it into reality. Do you enjoy doing that part of it?
She's the artist.
Now,
She
see-
draws that. she will actually
Yeah.
draw this out on paper, and we'll take a picture, and we will email it to the person, and see if that's what they have in mind. If they need something else added to it, or any tweaks, or and then once we get the approval, we'll go ahead and process it.
Gotcha. Now, see what I'm getting at there by saying, you see, you don't see what you do as art. probably so much because men are kind of like that in some ways, but that is art. I mean, there's such a design element to it, and it's beautiful. There's an aesthetic that, you know, it's not just building, you know, it's an art form. It really, really is. Are there any of the pictures in here that, because you brought so many, but I want to be able to show some more of your work.
The other way.
Like this one, did you?
No, this
Okay.
from a show.
Here, you get us where we need to go, because I would really like to show, if we can, pick some of that up on camera.
These are just some of the chandeliers.
I wish you could see all the chandeliers. They're just beautiful.
This
Look
is
at that one. Oh, yeah, I want to show. Now, what's this picture of?
That's actually our living room.
That's your house. So was this one of the first ones you made?
This is not one of the first ones. It's one with about so many down the line after we ended up with this cathedral ceiling in here. I made a big whitetail chandelier. And a big whitetail chandelier and cathedral ceiling still looks small, so I had to make something bigger to fill the space.
So how big is it? It's kind of hard to tell from the picture, the
It's
scale.
probably 6 foot, 7 foot across, and 3 feet high maybe. 4 maybe.
Wow. I want to come hang out in your living room.
That's actually
beautiful.
what we have, you know, it's our showroom basically.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because I see you have a table lamp and is that a floor lamp too?
yes.
Okay, now wait, this is a ceiling fan. That is awesome. Now where's this one hanging at?
That was hanging south of Champaign.
Okay. Now was this something you dreamed up, or was the client wanting a?
I've had several people want those. I had actually had a guy from Mattoon was wanting a fan with a light underneath it.
I see.
And so we designed that, and then from there on, people see pictures and they want one of these.
I want one of those.
Right.
And those are a little bit fun to do because you have to get the antlers just right so the blade doesn't hit them when they go around. And
Sure,
it has to be
yeah.
balanced and right size antlers.
I see. Now this one's really neat too. I love this. This is more like would be over a, I want to say a pool table or a bar.
That's what they
area.
are, pool table lights.
Okay, let's get this bottom one on screen here. There we go. Oh, that showed up real nice. That is stunning.
That's the same picture up there behind you.
Behind us, okay. That is beautiful. And where is that one hanging up at?
That's in northeast Indiana.
I see. So
Man.
do you two, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
Was it Peoria show, and a man came down, he won 3 chandeliers and ended up with 2 chandeliers and a pool table light.
Okay.
So that's, like I said, he brought his antlers and we made light with his antlers.
And I was wondering how he was going to get all 3 of them back home, honestly.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
You might have to have a trailer. Huh?
They're pretty big.
So do you two go around and do shows together?
Yeah.
Awesome. How many shows would you say you do a year?
Probably 6 right now, about 6 shows. So I had surgery this last year and it kind of slowed things down for this year, but normally a normal year would be about 6 shows.
Okay.
So, since we hand build, custom make everything we do, it's really hard, the turnover, to get prepared, you know, to do more shows than that. So
Well, I want to come back to some of your work, Terri. What's one of the most unusual things you've painted on?
a clawfoot bathtub would be one.
Really?
And I had a man ask me to paint this tub, and he'd had the end cut out of it and made it into a seat. And he wanted a train scene painted on one side, and he wanted the Phantom Rider painted on the other. So him and 5 of his buddies brought it to our house, carried it to our basement, and set it down for me to paint. And then they had to come back and flip it to do the other side, and then come back and get it when it was all done. And most recently, it was the side of a semi that I was asked to paint on, which I turned down right now. But kind of the wrong time of year to be outside doing that. But
That's
yeah.
true, but that would be cool to see your work driving down the road.
At our church, I'd painted all the murals on all the walls in the junior church section for every Sunday school room. I did that last year. Took a whole summer to paint all those. I've done billboards. I don't know, what else? I had someone, an older man, contact me one time. He had a dream, and this was unusual, and he had told me what his dream was about and wanted me to paint it on a picture. So I thought that was a little odd too. But
Right.
So-
When you were able to finish that, did he Was it a
It was-
realization for him
It
of
was,
the dream?
it was,
Oh,
and
neat.
he was very pleased with it. So I was glad to do that for him. But generally, I prefer just to paint what I like, and if someone likes it, fine. And if they don't, then they don't have to take it. But I do get a lot of requests. So
Do you have a special room in the house, your art studio?
I do. I have a room that's set up just for me. When I started out, I was painting on the dining room table, and it got to where I took over the table and the island bar and everything else in the kitchen, and I needed my own space, so I didn't have to move stuff every time we sat to eat.
I see. And you probably have a pretty big workshop, don't you?
Yeah.
That takes up some space.
I can imagine. So both of you, for our viewers out there who are interested in your hobby as far as maybe picking it up, what do you recommend, or is there anything we need to know about your hobby before someone would say, hey, I want to make antler lamps? What do they need to know?
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Yes.
Now, how's that? Have you ever tripped and
Oh
stuck
no,
yourself?
it's just basically whenever you're drilling the antlers.
Oh, sure. Power
You know,
tools.
you still know where that's going to be coming out, and you don't want it to come out, but
Well, and it's probably hard to steady them because of their shape and their form. It's probably hard to really get a good.
guy in Wyoming, he said he's known people that have to go to the hospital from the drill bit coming through their hand, and
Have you had any major injuries?
oh
doing
no,
it? Good.
oh no.
Good.
I've had close ones too, though.
Sure.
So that's what I say. Yeah.
Sure. And what kind of tools do you need for your trade? If a person were to invest, do they need just brute strength, a hammer and some pins, or is there something else that would be advisable?
Drill, welder, and a lot of patience.
A lot of patience.
A lot of patience.
Well, and for you too, patience, especially with some of your minute work. It's very
Tedious.
detailed. Yeah. And I want to pick up, while we're talking to you, just here at the close of our interview, I want to pick up a few more of these so people can see, because the detail is just really lovely.
Thank you.
Now, when you're done with the acrylic, do you coat these?
I do. I put a clear sealer on it and
Okay.
to spray them. So
Okay. And what kind of brush would you use to get such tiny, tiny detail?
very tiny brush.
Yeah.
So
So is any of this pin work, or is it mostly brushes?
no, it's all brush. Everything
Okay.
is brush.
Okay. That's beautiful. Is that a house that inspired you, or was that something you dreamed up?
It's a house that I have just they call it like a morgue full of pictures and things I have saved from years, and Christmas cards and calendars and things for ideas to use, for things that I want to paint. So I will pull this from one thing and something from something else, and then come up with whatever I'm doing. So I love taking photographs of old barns. I have a lot of old barns that I use on some of these ornaments, and
And that is all freehand.
Of course.
so
I'm jealous. Isn't that beautiful? Well, both of you, you're so talented, and you're both artists. And I love that you do it together. Has it been good for your relationship, you think, to have kind of a joint interest
I
in
think
this?
so, and because what we love to do, we get to spend time and do it together, so that's been good. And when we do shows, we're together for that, so that's good. And I think when we get older and retire, we'll have plenty to do to keep us busy. So
I think you will, for sure. And in closing, I just want to mention this. You were just featured in this Adventure Sports Outdoors magazine, some of your work here, so I wanted to be sure and show that. So if people pick this up, is this something that's a subscription or a catalog, or?
subscription.
It's a subscription. So check this one out. Let me see if I can, whoa, oh, there it is. I moved it on you. Well, I really appreciate you bringing your work in and sharing it with us.
It's our pleasure.
And we look forward to seeing some of the things you come up with in the future.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you joined us for this edition of Hobbies, Crafts, and Collectibles. If you know someone we should be talking to, please do let us know. We'll see you next time.